This is the solution for Lab 1, where you will create your first Node-RED application. This video uses Node-RED on IBM Cloud as opposed to standalone, and it assumes that you already have an IBM Cloud account. When you log into IBM Cloud, you are presented with your dashboard. You get a new dashboard for each region, organisation and space that you have. To add an instance of Node-RED to your dashboard, go to Catalog, choose Boilerplates and then either the Internet of Things Platform Starter if you have an IBM Cloud Lite account, or Node-RED Starter if you have a standard account. This course can be completed on either service. I'm going to choose the IoT Starter. For each application that you create, you need to provide a unique app name and a host name. You'll notice that as I type, the host name is auto-populated. The two fields don't have to be the same, but it makes things easier as you only need to think of one thing to enter. Check to make sure that the region, organisation and space are where you want the application to be created on your IBM Cloud dashboard. The default fields under Selected Plan are good, so you can leave them and then click Create. Wait a few moments for the application to be created. You will know it is finished when the circle stops spinning and changes to green. Now you have your Node-RED application, but before you access it, you need to bind some of the Watson services that will be used in this lab. Go back to the catalogue and search for Language Translator. Select the service and make sure the region, organisation and space are the same as the Node-RED application that you just created. For the services, the name is not as important as it was for the application, so it can be left at the default value. Once you're happy, click Create. Now head back to the catalogue and repeat the same steps for the Watson Conversation service, again checking that the region, organisation and space are where you want it to be. Now that you have created the services, you need to bind them to your Node-RED application. This makes it easier once you are in Node-RED, as the credentials for the Watson services will be automatically added for you. Click on your Node-RED application and go to Connections. Go to Create Connection and then choose one of the Watson services that you just created and click Connect. You will get a message saying that the application needs to restage. Restaging stops the application and restages by compiling a new droplet and starting it, which can take a few minutes. For now, click Cancel until you have connected the other Watson service. Click Create Connection again and connect the translator service. Now the application is ready for restaging. Wait for the green circle and running status. This could take a few minutes. When the app is ready, click Visit App URL, which will open your Node-RED application in a new tab. The first time you open your application, you will be given the opportunity to secure your app. It is good practice to secure it to prevent anyone from accessing your application. Click Next and then create a username and password. Make a note of the credentials somewhere safe and then click Next and Finish. The following page provides some information on how to get started with Node-RED. To access your app, click Go to your Node-RED editor and then insert the username and password that you just created. All Node-RED applications come with a sample flow, which you will see when it loads. To create your own flow, click on the plus. You'll then have a blank canvas to create your flows. On the left-hand side, you have all the nodes available which are categorized. The main categories that you'll be using in this lab are Inputs, Outputs, Functions and IBM Watson. At the top, you can filter through the nodes. On the right-hand side, there are two tabs, Info, which provides information on nodes when you click on them, and the Debug tab to see the logs from your flows. To create your first application, drag an inject node onto the canvas and then drag a Debug tab onto the canvas. Wire them together by clicking on the circle on the inject node and joining it to the circle on the debug node. So far so good. Now you need to write something for your application, so double click on the inject node, which you'll notice has changed to timestamp, as this is a default action for the inject node. In the payload field, click on timestamp and change it to string. Now you can type anything that you want in the field. Let's keep things simple with Hello World for now and click Done. Before you can see your application in action, you need to click on the Deploy button. This saves your changes and deploys it to the server. You should see a successfully deployed message. Click on the Debug tab and then initiate the Inject node by clicking on the blue square to the left of the node. You should see Hello World in the Debug tab, and there you have your first application. Now that was pretty easy, so let's add a bit of complexity by translating the text into a different language. For this, search for the Language Translator node and drag it onto your canvas. Link it between the Inject and Debug nodes. Make sure to delete the old link between the Inject and Debug node. Double-click on the Language Translator node. At this point, if you hadn't connected the service to the Node-RED application back in IBM Cloud, you would have been asked to enter the credentials in a field here. Don't worry about giving the service a name, but choose a language that you would like to translate the text to. And when you're happy, click Done. Now I don't know about you, but Hello World seems quite simple to translate. So let's go back and double-click on the Inject node and add a bit more text to the payload. Click Done when you're finished. But before we can deploy, we now need to alter the Debug node slightly. Single-click on the Language Translator node and go to the Info tab. You will notice that the output of this service is returned on message.translation, so you need to alter the Debug tab to reflect this. Double-click on the Debug node and replace the word Payload with Translation. Then click Done, and now you're ready to deploy. Initiate the Inject node and then go to the Debug tab. You need to drill down into the response to find the translation. Here you can see the French translation of Hello World. This is my first application. The translation service has different domains. The default is set to conversational, but it is worth looking into whether the other domain changes the output. Double-click on the translator node and change conversational to news. Click Done and deploy, and then initiate the Inject node again. Drill down into the Debug tab and note the change in the output. For this text, there are significant differences in the output, so bear this in mind when you use the translator service in future projects. This completes Lab 1, where you have created your first Node-RED application.